Next, let's create a models folder. Now, in Visual Studio, you can see the newly created models folder. Inside this folder, let's create a user.js file. Let's import required modules. Here I have imported data type subject from SQLize. Now I am importing SQLize instance, which will connect to our database. Next I am defining a SQLize model named user. This tells SQLize to create a table in the database or use an existing one that will represent this model. Now here I have defined the columns for the user table, such as username, email, password and role. Here, I have set timestamps to false because I have added created at and updated at columns manually. Otherwise, if we set it to true, it will automatically add created at and updated at columns to users table. And finally, let's export the user model so it can be used in other parts of the application. Oh, I forgot to add table name attribute. By the way, we must provide this attribute in model class, specifically when we are using SQLize. Because SQLize automatically conclude the table name from the model class name. By default, it pluralizes and lowercases the model name. Example, spend data becomes spend_data. Using the table name attribute ensures that SQLize maps the model to the exact database table name, avoiding mismatches or unexpected behavior. In the similar way like users model, I have created these remaining models. Let's check their code one by one. In this page's model class, this is active attributes data type is Boolean. And its default value is true. And you are familiar with rest of the attributes and their respective data types. Let's check out sales model class. Here, week number is validated to ensure it falls between 1 and 4. And sales amount has decimal type to store sales amounts with 2 decimal places. Next, in the settings model class, foreign key relationship with the users table is included. And on delete, cascade ensures that if a user is deleted, their associated settings are also deleted. Also, in spend data model class, foreign key relationship with the users table is included. Well, I'm only trying to explain those data types in these model classes which are not explained before. This is the transactions model class. As you can see, it includes attributes such as ID, code, date, amount, tax, and total amount. And in this user's passwords model class, password hash stores the hashed password securely. And this allowing null, false, makes this column mandatory. Let's create one more folder named controller. I hope you are noticing that we are following a structure here in this Node project. Inside this controllers folder, I am creating user controller.js file. This file will hold all APIs and their respective logic for user-related operations. Let's import the user model. Now we are going to create APIs to insert data into database and to retrieve data from database. So, while inserting data into database, we must know how data is structured. This user model will help to understand that structure. Now, when client sends an HTTP post request to a specific route like /API/create_user, this exports.createUser function will get triggered. This asynchronous function takes request and response parameters sent by client. Now here, username, email, password, and role are extracted from the request body. This line uses the user model to create a new user in the database. It awaits the asynchronous operation to complete before moving to the next line. If the user creation is successful, client will receive JSON response with status code 201 and includes a message indicating success along with the newly created user object. In case of an error during user creation, client will receive JSON response with status code 500 internal server error and includes an error message for debugging purposes. Let's create a route for this create user function. Here, create one more folder named routes. Inside this folder, I have created a user routes.js file.